Now we're going to start doing some finishing touches on our movie poster here. So what I'm doing is bringing in some image elements that I found online and I'd cut out and I'd work the coloration on a little bit. My idea is to have this donut hovering above the figure who's got their arms up. So they're reaching up to grab it, kind of like the movie poster has this ring that the subject is grabbing towards. So I'm just transforming this and putting it into place right on top of that laser beam type thing within the image. So I'm going to bring that in, finish transforming that, and then move on to the next thing. I'm also going to bring in a mouse trap, resize that, put it into place, and then I created a shadow underneath the mouse trap so it looked like it was on top of the donut. Alright, so then from there I'm going to bring in the text that I had created, and I had that as a PNG so I could just drag it right in. You wouldn't have to do this step if you had the font loaded in on the computer that you're working on. These schools machines don't have a lot of the fonts, and you can't add them in unless you're an administrator. So here I am, I'm just bringing in the font. I try to match it up exactly where the movie poster has its font. So I lower the opacity down on the movie poster, and then I click on the font layer, and then I use the move tool to drag it right into place and resize it as needed. So just got to make sure that you have the right layer selected when you're working on things here. So I'm dragging it into place, and then you can nudge it with the arrow keys on your keyboard. Then hit enter when you're happy with how it looks. All right, we just have a few last couple things that we're going to do to the poster. So I'm going to add these lines on from the movie poster, and the circle that's in that platform area. So that's what I'm going to do next. So to do this, I created a brand new layer. I stole the color from the movie poster, and I just used the paintbrush tool. And I clicked once, I held shift, and I clicked again, and it would connect it. Then I was just working with perspective transformations and duplicating it to put it on the other side. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to create the circle. I just did a quick select on the platform from the original poster, and then I subtracted away with the lasso tool the section I didn't want. Then I constructed the selection and went up to the edit stroke menu and created on the color that I wanted. Then I added a blur to it so that it would match what things look like for the other two lines. Then I just erased away the section of the line that I didn't want and painted in an area that didn't quite work out as well with the selection that I had on there. So that's what you're seeing me do right now here. Alright, so the last thing that I'm going to do is create a really large glow behind the figures. To do that, I've made a blank layer. I'm just going to fill that in with color, which is kind of like the glow color. So I filled it all in. Then what I'm going to do is just simply create a layer mask on top of that. And then I'm going to use a gradient and have that go like a star in the middle, where it kind of comes out from the middle and goes away. And again, you can redo the gradient as much as you want to get the effect that you want. So I want that glow to be a little bit larger, so I'm just going to recreate that again here. And then after I'm happy with how that looks, I'm just going to transform it and move it into place and make it look exactly the way that I want. But this is going to be how I'm going to give that last finish touch in there. Lastly, I'm just going to work on getting some of my last touches in here. I want to move around some of the lightning bolts. I decided to duplicate them again to move them so they were on both sides and make them a little less see-through, a little more see-through, so that way it's a little bit easier to see the background through them. And that's it. That's the end of the poster.